Welcome to the Shifted podcast and video series. Each week, we talk to classroom teachers about how their teaching and learning has shifted since the onset of the global pandemic. We delve into classroom practices, daily routines, structures and schedules, digital tips, tools, and tricks that you can use in your classroom right away. Welcome to the Shifted podcast and video series. My name is John Hamlin. I work with the Greater Victoria School District here in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, the capital of our province and home to the Lekwungen-speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt Nation, upon whose land we live, we learn, we work, we play, and we podcast. This is episode 7 of the Shifted podcast. On this episode, we're talking with Lisa Green, a secondary English language arts and Spanish teacher from Oak Bay High School. Lisa will be walking us through a number of the digital platforms that she is using to maintain engagement with her students in a remote learning environment. She'll also be walking us through a platform called Yabla that she discovered with her Spanish students last year. Based on the success Lisa had with Yabla and a number of other folks that have tried this out in our district with very positive feedback and reviews, we've gone ahead and organized a 1-year district trial license for Yabla in our secondary schools. And I'm pleased to announce that Yabla is now available for all of our modern language French and Spanish teachers and our ELL teachers to engage their students with. In addition to that, because Yabla falls under our FIPA privacy legislation, we've set up Yabla in the Informed Consent student portal that students now have access to so they can provide an informed consent for their data to be used and shared with the Yabla platform. I'm going to include more info about that in the links below, including a link to our Yabla support page that we've developed on our district learning site. I hope you enjoy this episode. Lisa is a wealth of information, and we couldn't be more grateful to her for taking the time to share all of her experiences with us and to walk us through her platform and give us a little window into what her teaching practice has looked like. Thank you for watching episode 7. I hope you've been enjoying the podcast series. Of course, if you have any questions, I encourage you to reach out. You can find my contact email in our district email search, or you can access us online at our new website, shift-ed.ca, or you can go to our Anchor FM page and leave us a voicemail that we can include in a future episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the show. Take care. Good afternoon. This afternoon, we're having a conversation with Lisa Green, languages teacher from Oak Bay High School. And this Zoom conversation is beaming to you live and direct from the lands of the Lekwungen-speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt Nation. Lisa, thank you so much for your time this afternoon to chat.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
And I know you've been quite active and engaged with other digital platforms pre-COVID, but certainly during this remote learning period, those platforms have become ever so important to maintaining communication with your class. So I'm hoping you can talk to us a little bit about which digital tools, tips and tricks you've been using to navigate the landscape in this remote learning period.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I'll try and talk slow because I know that some of us are just learning a lot of these things, and I have a habit of talking a little bit fast when I'm showing people how to use things on here. So just like, John, slow me down.
I'll write in the chat too if you're going too fast.
Okay. Yeah, so slow me down when you need to. But I think like others, when the online learning started happening, it was more of a how do I keep track and help the students keep track of all of the classes they'll have and all of the assignments, and just knowing, with all teachers kind of bombarding them with emails and different things, it was how do we keep students on track and not get too lost within the portal of the internet and with all the links. So I'm just going to show a few things that I did that were helpful, and that students, their feedback came back that was really helpful for them as well, and a few other teachers started using. So I will do a screen share.
Yeah,
I hit it?
should be good to
Okay.
go.
So I'll start first with just most teachers are pretty accustomed to using Google Classroom now, and here's what an assignment, what a student would get, and obviously you kind of see down below here the PDF or the links for the things. But again, I just thought this might be a bit overwhelming with information, and for students to have a one-stop shop where they can know what is it I actually need to do and kind of check it off and know that they've done it beyond just the classroom. So I created a doc in the first week that looked like this, and you can see the date and week 1, so it was very clear this was week 1 of online learning. And then I kind of said, here is the assignment for the week. I provided links within the doc to the assignment, so it was easy for students to kind of go there, as well as it being attached in the classroom, so there was no reason why they shouldn't have been able to find the assignment. Yabla, which I will share in a second. Duolingo, which has been helpful for online as well. I think their platform could be better with languages if there's other teachers out there who've tried it. And then a couple bonus workouts, because I call them workouts with my classes, but different things they could be doing, especially for those students who I think were really quick to get things done, and maybe were like, I'm a bit bored and I wanted more to do. So I just kind of provided, you don't have to, like I said, but if you've done it, to show me. So this is, I had students, this was a shared document with edit access from everyone in the class. And I did put students' names here for students to come on, say, oh, yeah, I've done the first assignment, it's done, and then just highlight it to let me know that it got, complete, and to go through, and then I could easily see, are students engaging with online learning? How much are they getting done? As you can see, almost all the class managed to finish the first 2, which were the definite assigned activities. The rest were kind of bonus, but some are, going on to do the bonus activities. So this little interface became really helpful, and students got very used to it, and they knew that when they completed something to go on and do this. I have heard from other teachers there's some concern just about, including student names here, that other students might feel like they're not getting enough done. I kind of feel there's an accountability factor that gets students going with seeing, others are doing it, so maybe I should jump on as well. But if that's the case and you feel it's a little more comfortable to include student numbers, I'm going to show a different doc, and you can do student numbers as opposed to student names for that as well. So this was just something that I started doing that became really helpful for me as far as keeping things organized for the students. And it was easy for me to log on and see where students are at. And obviously I was able to double check that these assignments were done. So even if a student said, yeah, I actually did my Yabla assignments, I was able to check Yabla and see, you didn't. So I could catch them pretty quickly and hold them accountable. I advanced this into my English class, and instead of just doing a weekly thing, it was overall assignment. So assignments that were assigned throughout the online learning. So same kind of idea. This one, again, this is just an example.
Yeah.
But this is student numbers down below here. And just kind of say, okay, assignment 1 is due May 14th. And I provided a link in the assignment to the Google form, so a student really couldn't get lost in doing this. I did a lot actually within Classroom in the Google Forms, so I could like embed the videos and go through this. But this way, as the assignments go, students can kind of go, oh, I missed, week 3 assignment, I should do that one. So overall, again, that's a nice, easy place. If they had, what am I missing in English? It was nice and easy for them to go in here and see it, also for me. And then you could just keep adding. I think for those of you who might not have seen this, but of course you can click on, and I could just do insert column, right, to add in my next new assignment as we go.
Yeah, and certainly it's a good way to keep yourself organized, and certainly it's simple and straightforward. And I guess another workaround to avoid that spotlight on the kid that's not performing necessarily might be to create an individualized one of those, and then assign this document to students in Google Classroom, and then have it come out. So each student would have their own personalized one of those that they could do as well. It'll make more work for you to then have to check in on each individual one. But yeah, just another option, I guess.
That was the thing. It was mostly just so I could, we were being asked a lot as teachers to kind of keep track of students who wasn't partaking in online learning. And so this is an easy way to kind of see if a student, not only were they not handing things in, but, it's very clear. It's almost an attendance in itself about who's not taking part in online learning. So it became kind of an easy way of doing that. But I actually found that, and I think it helps students to kind of see others are doing this, so I should get it done instead of the opposite.
What would you say your engagement rate was like for all your students? Just if you could just guess a percentage.
I think it started strong. I mean, I think it started in most of my classes around that 85 to 90% engagement. Some were 100 at the start, and then it really started to peter off towards the end of the school year, which was not surprising. And I think, Spanish is kind of that elective course, and even English sometimes gets pushed down to the side with science and math. So I found that most students were kind of letting me know they were overwhelmed with other subject areas, and they were kind of letting these ones go. Or I was having to phone and talk to some, and they just we're just
Right.
done.
Wasn't at the top of the priority list
No.
the year. Yeah.
No, so I would say it started the engagement rate started much stronger than it finished, for sure.
The students had a little siesta on the Spanish class at the end of the term.
Yeah.
I'll edit that part out.
And I'll show just a couple other things for Spanish that really help. So I really love Google Slides. I think Google Slides offer so much. I prefer slides to docs just because of the editing ability within slides. And in the slides for Spanish, I would do a little vocab. I'll definitely keep this up going into next year for sure. It's nice to have this online anyways. But, I'd have this little vocab Google Slides that I would share with all students. And I built this so it would just take them through the vocabulary of the unit. Fun little slides for them to see, a video for them to watch, which is another reason why I like slides more, because in docs it doesn't link like that. You can't put it in unless you embed it, and it doesn't look the same way.
Right.
But then what was really handy is this becomes, when students actually play this, if they were to play it on their phone, it becomes like a flashcard. So I'll just present. So it becomes a flashcard for them. On their phones, they get to do this little flashcard with the vocab, and it takes them through. So I really like slides for this because it allows the students to kind of work their way through either an assignment or whatever you have, like slide by slide. You can embed videos, and then again, the flashcard. So the more you get used to using the slides, the easier they become. And I've done that with English to Spanish to almost everything. And most students really like it because, again, it's a little more exciting to look at. And then this was really handy, and some teachers did not know this function existed. But in my, in this, where I might have said my assignment was to go over the vocabulary slide and review the vocabulary slides, students would say, they'd check that, well, yeah, I've gone over the vocab slides. I would later maybe give an assessment just to make sure they had. But I can also check to see, did you really? This little handy arrow up here in the corner, which I didn't know what it did before. You can click on viewers. So when I were to click on my Spanish 10 class, I can go down and I can actually see who has opened it and when. And I can see who hasn't as well. So it was really handy. John, I'm not sure if you'll be able to show that or not. And I know student names are there. But
That's
it was
okay.
really
I can
handy.
blur
I know they've signed releases, but it was super handy to see if they've actually opened it and engaged with it. And that little, funky arrow is in docs and in slides. And since teachers know that that's there, you can see if a student has actually opened that slide. So if a student has said they hadn't seen it, you can actually catch them on it if they have or not, which I think is great to see as well.
The accountability arrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we'll call it, the accountability arrow. And then also just within slides, I did the same thing within a grammar. So that was vocab, but then I might have gone to grammar and done something really similar here and embedded lots of little grammar videos. So again, for online learning, I can't be sitting beside the students walking them through. So trying to find and source out these videos to keep them engaged was a big part of this. But I have this going in the future. So even in class, we'll be able to walk through this, and then I can always attach it in classroom, and they always will have access to it. So that's why I really like slides, because it takes a little bit of time to build, but once you have it, it'll be there for good.
Yeah.
So again, I can't highlight enough that Google Slides is a way to go, I think, with a lot of courses, but definitely with languages, that video embed was really important. And then the other side of slides, this slide was just a share with the class. They're not allowed to edit it. They can only see it. But of course, you could always assign slides that students are working on individually as a full assignment and then handing back, or make it so every student in the class is working on the same assignment. And so this was a Spanish artist project, and I had all students working on the same Google slide. So they all had access to the same slideshow. They were all assigned different artists. And then as you can see, they were allowed 3 to 4 slides. And I created that first, and they could decorate them. The criteria was that they had to make them artistic. They had to decorate them, the information they had to include. But and this became its own lesson in itself. So I know that there's social studies teachers who are doing this, and then they'd be having students create the information, and then they have to learn from each other from this. And then they might be quizzing the students on the information as well, going through all of this that the students have kind of cultivated and going through and doing that as well. But I really like this for online learning. Again, students can see others engaging. They're teaching each other. They can make their slides their own, but they can also see that, oh, others are doing a really good job with this. So maybe I need to up my game a little bit and make those slides look really good. So they're learning all these different tips and tricks. So that was just another example of doing this as a class doc and taking this.
Yeah, it kind of embeds a sense of peer reflection and peer assessment and peer and self-assessment when you can see your work in relation to others, right? So that's, yeah.
And you can take it next level as a teacher and have, students have another doc where students, if I wanted to create a separate slide and put it underneath here, I'd create a separate slide for the underneath here, and then I might make it so students need to actually comment on other slides. So just so you get more feedback from students to kind of say, yeah, really good looking slides. I learned a lot. I didn't know this about Gaudi. That's interesting. So I think another level is to kind of take it there and then make it part of your rubric that students need to read and comment on others. Obviously, you need to watch your classes with that too and be on top of it in case anyone says something you don't like, but hopefully your classes will get trained in this.
Positive.
And so there is that side of things with Google Slides. And then I will take you to Yabla as the last thing. So it was a mom of one of my students who told me about Yabla as a platform for online language learning. When I first looked into this, and some other teachers out there who are watching this might know, it's not cheap. And I think it ends up being around $15 a student or less, depending on how many students you have in your class. I'm just going to take a drink of water before I continue. But the great thing about this company was that when COVID-19 started, they offered their platform for free for teachers and students. Excuse me. And so it was a great opportunity to try this for the first time. And I don't know if I will ever go back. I love it. You know that, John. I think this is a fantastic platform, and I'm just going to show you why I really love it. So this, if I move this little to here. So I have my teacher. I'm signed up. This is my Spanish, what I can look for Spanish videos in here, and I can post. And basically, the idea behind Yabla is that students watch videos, listen to Spanish speakers, music, education. They also have lots of videos that might supplement your vocab lessons or your grammar lessons, and then students have to engage with them. So the listening component that they might be missing a lot of in class, they'll be getting online. And the best part of this, what I really like, is the platform that teachers will see, the kind of the grid, the class grid. But I'll just show you real quick as an example. These videos have just been uploaded. They're new. So this would say, gives you the title. This is a music video. And then it would say difficulty level right here. So I know that this is an intermediate level. So this would probably be more of my Spanish 10, 11s. This is advanced, so Spanish 12s. So I know going into it what kind of level I'd be looking for. And some Spanish teachers, again, will probably know Extra in Espanol as this video series our students engage with, but all these different things. And they have cultural elements. So I'm just going to use this as an example. And I haven't watched this video yet, but if I were to click on this one to watch it.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Me llamo Fermín y ahora mismo estoy preparando una maleta para hacer un viaje a San Sebastián. El motivo de mi viaje.
So you'll see, you get the video going. I've seen what the students will see. You've got the Spanish up top. You have the English on the bottom. You can take off the English if you don't want students to see that, but it's very helpful for them to see it. Yeah. And this goes throughout the whole video. But then they've got this little game. So this is what the teacher sees. So I can assign a multiple choice. So as the students are watching the video.
Ahora mismo estoy preparando una maleta para hacer un viaje a San Sebastián.
So I have to click.
Para hacer un viaje a San Sebastián. El motivo.
So they have to listen,
Hola,
click on it. Oops, just a sec. And they get points. So it makes it a bit of a game. They have fill in the blank games for this. So it takes it to kind of next level. Now they got to actually type out the word. Full scribing for the senior students. This is new for them, but they do a comprehension section. So the comprehension one I really
Hola,
like.
¿Qué tal? Me llamo Fermín y ahora mismo estoy preparando una maleta para hacer un viaje a San Sebastián. El motivo de mi viaje es que el próximo 20...
So they have to watch the whole video,
Hola,
and then they have
¿qué
to
tal?
stop him. Thanks. They have to watch the whole video, and then they have to do that comprehension kind of multiple choice. And I can assign how many questions they need to get right on that one. So again, all of these videos they're fairly short. I would say most of them run from 2.5 minutes. The longest video I've seen is around 5. And so it's the level for student engagement is not huge. They could, it's little tiny chunks, and I might assign 4 or 5 videos a week for them to get through. And of course, I almost always put a music video in to get students engaged, sometimes 2. They've got cartoons, a cartoon series for students to watch. But yeah, just so many kind of videos that you can kind of do it. And if I wanted to say, let's say I was interested in Cuba, maybe I'm going to look at what videos here are offered specifically focusing on Cuba or Cuban culture. And I might do to add that in extra. And then this is the great part for teachers. So my classes, my Spanish 10 class. So when I want to go in to see our students engaging with this platform, you can see none have right now because we stopped before June 16th. But if I wanted to go the past 10 weeks, generate report, I can see all of my students' names here. I can see which students have engaged, how many videos they've watched. You can see up here, they've watched 6 videos. They've watched maybe 9 times. So they've actually watched some videos more than once and gone through them for 9 completions. They've got multiple choice points, fill in the blank points, vocabulary review points, and they've got some video completion now because I assign points for completing videos to the full length. So I can see a really nice easy grid of students engaging with these activities. And because it's point-based, students really like it. So each week I was just assigning point leaders, my top 5 for the class. And even though I'm assigning certain activities, if students do more on their own, they can get more points. So it became a really great platform. And I would definitely say the number one thing that I got from students on, how was online learning was they really engaged with Yabla. They liked it a lot. So that was handy. And that's also why I'd really like it for next year, because it was just one of those platforms that became really handy. And as a teacher going forward, no matter what we do, so I'll just sit back to my classes. You can see all my classes here and have students kind of sign in. So that was Yabla.
So that was going to be actually one of my next questions for you was, assuming, at some point in the future, we'll be back to our normal operations. Which of the, I guess Yabla is one of them, but are there any other new tips or tricks or tools that you've picked up over the last couple of months that you'll definitely be carrying forward even back into the regular face-to-face instructional model?
Beyond the Google Classroom?
Yeah, anything that we haven't discussed potentially.
Duolingo is another one. It's another great one for students. A lot of them have it on their phone already. They have a class option on Duolingo, but it's the interface isn't great. I think they need to do a little bit of work with that. Maybe they will based on all this. If students have a personal account, it kind of messes with their other one. So that's one. But in languages, it's probably the only thing I've seen for online that I've used personally, because I think and I think other teachers would agree, like when you find one that works, stop looking for the moment because we just get overwhelmed, right? Everything seems to be great and we keep looking. When you find one that really works for you. I know there's Senior Woolly. My colleague really likes Senior Woolly, and it's a great platform as well. And it also has a subscription, but it's not very expensive. So there's lots kind of out there, I think, that again, as a teacher, if you kind of find. And then the district, of course, has TPRS and lots of links and resources for that. And they've provided videos and I've managed to use some of the TPRS short stories that come with the YouTube kind of short films, we'll say, that they have, and then do a Google form where I've just got the multiple choice questions that have already been provided, but I just make the link in the Google form with the multiple choice questions below. So I've been able to use some of the TPRS resources that the district already has for online as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is any last thoughts or tips or tricks or suggestions you'd like to share out to languages or English teachers before we wrap up?
Not really. I think, our biggest thing is keeping students on track, but also ourselves. So just knowing when you're assigning something and keeping things, a calendar for yourself, and just all that was the most important thing that I've done by far.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Lisa. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, John. Thanks for having me.
Take care.